what advice do you have for today's marketers on just how they can deal with the bloated MarTech stack?
Yeah, actually, I think current economy, like, it's something to be cognizant of. The other thing I like to add there is looking for that overlap when you are buying consolidated tools, because I think it's easy to buy more than you need. And I brought the point up earlier, but being very conscientious of what you actually need from the platforms and making a decision that way. Rather than buying everything that you think is going to add value, focus on a few things that are going to be really important for your go-to-market motions and doing those really well. You should have a tool that's everybody in the organization is using versus having every department have their own little function. So something like that. But with marketing automation, for example, we're specialized in marketing automation, but we do the important things, and we're not wasting time or effort on developing stuff that you don't necessarily need to do it well. Figure out what your niche is, what you actually need, and focus on those, and don't try and boil the ocean.
I guess with MarTech Stack, when we talk about like reporting out, onto channels, maybe we'll start with you, Dom, on this one, but what are some of the key marketing performance metrics that marketers should really kind of pay close attention to see how their channel is performing?
Yeah, I think it depends where you're at in the funnel. Cost per MQL is always something that's going to be important, especially when you're comparing two vendors within the same channel or same type of program. That it shouldn't be the only thing you're looking at. Like, the lowest CPM QL is not always going to be the best. I think an example of that, if you have 10 MQLs that come in for $100 per MQL and it only converts at 10%, but you have another program that's generating MQLs at $500 a piece and they're converting at 50%, like, they both cost about $1,000 to turn into an opportunity, but the more expensive one only requires effort on 2 MQLs versus 10 for the previous. So, like, even though they look the same, they don't operate the same. So I think that's why it's also important to make sure, and I mentioned before, is focusing on the bottom of funnel performance to see what's actually turning into pipeline and revenue. I think leads and MQLs are great for optimizing and understanding the directional performance of your programs, but you need to be looking towards the bottom, especially as we are making these more difficult decisions with how the market's looking.
Great. Ashley, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I think Dom's point of measurements of bottom of funnel and top of funnel cost per MQL, those are absolutely essential. But in order to understand like that comparison between programs, for example, you really have to stay on top of your channel KPIs and not let performance slip, because it might be at the start of the year you have a great, for example, webinar program perhaps, and you continue to invest in it like usual, but you don't keep a close eye on what's working for registrations and topics that are really engaging people. And so staying on top of metrics by channel is definitely important. And we all know those can vary greatly from channel to channel.
Disqualify early. Do it, and it hurts to say that, because more often than not, you want to try and get people through the door. But if you have conversations early and it doesn't seem like they're actually that interested, don't spend so much time there when you don't need to. I think, like, getting people out of your funnel early on versus having them progress and then realizing, oh wait, this wasn't that great of a fit, or the purchase intent really isn't there. It wastes more resources.
From a planning and budgeting and sort of FP&A perspective, I think the real challenge is, for the marketers to be able to come in and easily and clearly prove the ROI of the MarTech stack. Because what's happened over the last several years is there's become a lot of adjacent technologies that find their way into the stack. And, oftentimes when we go into budgeting meetings and we ask about a technology and we talk about the spend and ask the question about the ROI and the total cost of ownership of a tool, you can get a kind of deer in the headlights kind of, look when these questions are asked. And secondarily, I think Dom pointed this out, is like, tools will get brought in, there'll be a business case for that, and then we find that there's maybe not the in-house expertise to finish the implementation of the job. And so then we get a surprise budget request for contractors and so forth to come in and finish the job. So those are some of the elements some of the challenges that we see.
One of my secret weapons is being tightly aligned with a sales executive that can really be the champion for your business, because if you have a sales executive rooting for you alongside to the marketing executive. That just makes your case better. A happy sales team and successful sales team is definitely a success metric for us marketers. So having that executive advocate on your behalf can be very impactful.